This is gonna feel like a very weird reading wrap up to film in that I only have one physical book to really hold up during the whole thing. Now, I did only end up reading 4 books in the month of May, but usually I still have like half the books to hold up. This month I don't, and there are a couple of good reasons for that. So starting off, the first book that I read in May was Now You're Mine by Morgan Bridges. I did not like this book. It was the second book in the Possessing Her duology, and I knew I wasn't gonna like it. There was a very, very, very slim chance that this book was going to come back and redeem itself after the horrible book that was the first installment of this duology, but still I decided to read it. I was buddy reading it, so it definitely allowed me to laugh at some of the things I did not like about this book and then also share the angry thoughts I had about it with my friend. So there were pros to reading this book, but mostly cons, I cannot lie. If you are looking for a dark romance, I would not recommend this. I don't think I would recommend this book to anyone because it is not marketed correctly, and also it's just disturbing. This to me is a book that crossed a very fine line between dark romance and erotic thriller, and it was marketed as a dark romance, but I do believe it should be considered an erotic thriller or a horror, for that matter. None of the things that these characters did to each other or experienced should be romanticized at all. There was a lot of non-consensual things going on. Not like that, I mean like non-consensual tattoos. And don't even ask me to explain because I would not know how to. I guess there's like a non-consensual vacation. Basically an abduction. But anyway, that's all I'm gonna say. I really don't want to spoil it for anyone, but it's just not a good book. It was just as good as the first one, I'll give it that much. And as far as sequels go, that's pretty rare, but 2 stars. Not good, and I ended up feeling very guilty because I did put this one as well as its predecessor into a little free library. So some poor soul is gonna stumble upon it and read those books. And I am deeply, deeply sorry for that. I didn't feel that there was any other option because I don't believe in throwing books in the garbage. And who knows, maybe someone will find it and it will be exactly their cup of tea, and who am I to judge? To each their own. But it was not for me. So I do not have this physical book to hold up for this video because I have parted ways with it, and I hope to never ever see it in my life ever again. Next, I listened to the audiobook Finding My Way by Malala Yousafzai. I loved this audiobook. It was a great follow-up to her first memoir, I Am Malala. So this one is way more recent. I think it was released last year or earlier this year. And it's just about her literally finding her way, going through college, trying to adjust to the way of life in Europe because she was unable to go back home and live in Pakistan. It is a very dangerous place to be right now, especially for her. So she really just is talking about her life now and anxiety, PTSD, and how all of the crazy things that happened to her in her youth are now affecting her today. Then also just trying to live life as a normal human being. She also talked about being in school and not being at the top of her class and having to come to terms with that, and experimenting with drugs, which I was not expecting. That was crazy. And then also just dressing completely different than what she's used to dressing in Pakistan. Super good memoir. I highly recommend it. I think it would also be a really good physical book to read. I don't know if it would have pictures, but if it does, that would be great. So if you have read that, let me know if it has pictures because I would seriously consider buying this one and adding it to my shelf. It was that good. I don't rate memoirs, but I highly recommend this one too. Honestly, everyone. I think anybody and everybody could get something out of this one. Then I finally got to The Clinic by Kate Quinn. I originally was going to read this one in a 24-hour readathon vlog I did in April, I believe. But I didn't end up getting to it, so I got to it now and I loved it. It was so good. I was a little bit skeptical. I'd never heard of this book before buying it, but 5 stars. It was everything a thriller should be. It was very atmospheric, dark, creepy. It had like the hairs standing up on the back of my neck at some points. It's set in a rehab clinic that is like a renovated old mansion thing, but it's very modernized now. And it's a situation where no one can be trusted, not even the main character, and is also very, very high stakes. I don't want to get into it too much because I think it would be great to go into this one not knowing much. Believe me, if you love thrillers, this one is a really good time and I highly recommend it. It kept me guessing until the very end, and I myself find thrillers can be somewhat predictable, but this one was not, and I will absolutely be looking into more things by Kate Quinn because of this book. So that was the only physical book that I have to hold up. I still have one more book that I read in the month of May, and that was an arc called Please Enjoy Your Stay. This one I believe comes out later this year in October, and I have to say that I highly recommend this one as well. I also rated it 5 stars. It was another thriller that was set in an old castle, I believe, that has been modernized and made into a hotel in Austria, of all places. It was a very interesting setting. I loved it so much. Again, another situation where none of the characters can truly be trusted. Weird things are going on in this hotel. It's very atmospheric and gives you that feeling like you need to be looking over your shoulder while you're reading it. I love when authors can capture that feeling for me. It's how I know that something is going to be 4 or 5 stars, because if you can make me feel that way in a thriller or a horror, you are doing your job and then some. But again, this one was super fun. Such a good freaking read, and you definitely need to look into it when it comes out. I love being sent arcs so much, especially when I enjoy them and I get to recommend them to people. It's nice to read a book and not know much about it, but then also not know many people's opinions on it, because then you get to kind of just go into it not expecting anything and truly feel it out for yourself. There's nothing quite like it. But that is it. That is what I read in the month of May. Once again, not very much, but I did start school at the beginning of this month, so I've had a lot of different work to do for that. And then also I've just been caught up with some other things, I guess. Life gets kind of busy sometimes, but I am hoping to kind of get a little bit more back on track with my reading. I have been neglecting it here and there. So hopefully June I will be able to dedicate a little bit more time to reading for fun as opposed to reading just solely for school. But with that, I am going to leave this one here. I hope you have a great rest of your week and happy reading.